Welcome back to Boca Raton. This video is more like a public service announcement about the condo issue down here in South Florida. So if you see above me, they're building these beautiful new condos, and these condos behind me are going to be very different than a lot of the condos that you may be looking at yourself. So this video was brought on because I'm working with a few new buyers who reached out to me in the past few months. They're looking at houses in the East Boca area, and unfortunately for their price point, they're realizing they couldn't get the house that they could have got last year. So they're like, hey, let's start looking at condos. And so what I like to do, if you're starting to look at condos, especially older condos, because these can be quite pricey behind me, I like to bring on somebody who works in my same brokerage with me, who works frequently with condos, because the condo crisis is getting worse. So apparently not everybody's completely aware of what's going on with the condos down here in South Florida. So here in South Florida, we've had an incident, you've probably seen this already, called the Surfside collapse of their condos, and it's brought on all these new laws and regulations to the condo market down here in South Florida. And you may or may not have already heard about this, but I think people still don't get the impact. So I brought on this other agent who works especially with older condos. They do this a lot because there's a lot of things that we're going to go over later in this video of what you actually need to look at if you're considering even buying an older condo here, 30 plus years old. Because to be honest, I mainly work just with, single family homes, townhomes, and things in that nature. I can deal with your basic HOAs. But once you're dealing with a condo that's built from the 70s and you have tons of documents that you have to go through for these condos, or you're going to end up like some of the buyers that unfortunately are getting hit very hard this year because a lot of these condo regulations go in effect for this particular year. So what I want to do to start this discussion, just so you understand just how bad this condo situation is down here, I want to play this clip from a local news channel down here, and what you're going to see is that these elderly people have been paying already over $1,500 a month in an HOA. Now, if that wasn't surprising for you for their condo, it actually doubled already in a year to $3,000 a month just for their monthly HOA alone. But they're actually going to have to pay over $250,000 in a special assessment for only a 2-bedroom condo down here below Boca. So it's in I believe the Aventura area. So fortunately, Boca doesn't have that many condos, so we don't have to worry too much about this. But it's just something to be aware of, because if you're starting to consider like, hey, maybe I won't be able to get the house I want, let's start looking at condos. Especially this condo, it's cheap. Somebody like me, I would definitely bring on somebody who specifically works with condos to help you, because guys, it's getting bad. Let's play the clip.
Sleepless nights?
Sleepless nights? Every night. I don't know where we're going to live or how we're going to live.
Howard Konitz never thought he'd be in this situation at 79 years old.
We can't afford it. We can't afford it. We're going to go broke.
Konitz and his wife Sheila have lived in their 2-bedroom, 2-bath Williams Island condo for 10 years. The retired couple had their financial future all planned out.
Elevator modernization.
That was until they were recently hit with a special assessment. The total assessment for the apartment we're sitting in is what?
Approximately $224,000.
When you say that number, can you believe it?
No, not at all.
That's on top of their monthly maintenance that's gone from $1,500 to $3,000.
We never anticipated to have this escalation.
According to Condo Doc's assessments in Mediterranean Village in Williams Island, where Konitz lives, are as high as $400,000 for just one apartment. Projects budgeted for his building include everything from consultants to roofing, concrete restoration, elevator modernization, termite treatment, and $700,000 alone for landscaping?
Somebody also told me, well, if you're not able to pay, you shouldn't be living here.
The assessments at Williams Island can't be passed on to a potential buyer. Konitz has had his condo on the market and has dropped the price several times. He was turned down for a reverse mortgage by a lender due to strict condo rules.
Maybe I can give it away for pennies on the dollar.
He is not alone. This listing at the Cricket Club in North Miami discloses a $134,000 assessment. A new Florida law enacted after the 2021 collapse of the Champlain Towers in Surfside mandates increased building inspections and reserve funding for condo buildings. The rules come with a hefty price tag for owners of older buildings.
Have you ever seen numbers like this?
No.
Susie Friedel has been a realtor for 50 years. She's a mediator for the Miami Board of Realtors and the Florida Supreme Court.
What is the assessment on the apartment that you have for sale?
Just about $290,000. There needs to be assessments. The problem is they've done too much at one time. The boards have gotten so nervous about all this that now they're doing everything at once.
You know, the board does what they want.
The position you're in, what do you do?
Pray.
In Aventura, Jeff Weinseer, Local 10 News.
So as you saw in the video, the elderly man who's lived there for years is getting hit with a special assessment. It seems like he doesn't know what to do. Then they show another real estate agent who also apparently surprised by these special assessments, almost reaching $300,000 for their condo. And as you see in the video as well, they're talking about people are trying to sell these condos down here, but they can't, because if you look into the special assessments, if you look into the meeting notes, you'll see that you're eventually, if you buy the condo, you still have to pay that assessment. If you close on that property, you may still be liable for the $300,000 plus for the special assessment, or they can foreclose on you very quick and you'll lose your place regardless. And this is why I talk about why I personally don't like condos, is because you have these HOAs now and they can increase from $1,500 all the way to $3,000 a month, and also hit you with a almost $300,000 special assessment, and you have no control of this cost. If you saw in the video, they're talking about spending over $700,000 in landscaping remodel, and if you don't care about these palm trees, coconut trees, the grass being perfect all the time, you're gonna start wondering, why am I paying almost $1 million for landscaping for a very small condo complex? Why? And these special assessments are coming due to the nature of Florida itself. Florida previously was known as the retirement capital of America. So people came down here to retire. If you just get the general idea that if you're only here for another 20 years and you're worried about, making your money stretch during your golden years, you're probably not going to vote in maintenance for your building because you won't be here. This has really caused tons of delayed maintenance for these buildings, where the people who live there, because they're retired, didn't really care about making sure the buildings were up to date. So you have these buildings that have been completely neglected for decades, now getting hit with new regulations that require them to be safe. And this is how much it's going to cost, because it's decades and decades of delayed maintenance, all packed into one special assessment. So there's 5 things that you must really look into, especially even if you're working with a different agent, you're not working with me. These are the top 5 things you need to bring up with your real estate agent or anybody that you're currently working with. If you're not buying, say one of those that are brand new, you don't have to worry about special assessments coming up because they're brand new. You don't have the wear and tear like you do in some of these other buildings. Number 1 is to look at the financial health of the actual homeowners association, the condo association. So you can actually go through when you're in closing for the building or even before that and look up their budget, what they're budgeting for, how much money do they have in reserves, and what are they accounting for in the future. And that's one way you can keep an eye on things like, hey, does this condo association look like it's negative already and they haven't even got, they haven't done any repairs yet for this year, they're just running negative just on HOA fees. This might be a condo that may have a lot of issues in the future that you may want to consider avoiding due to the nature you have no idea what's about to happen with this association. Number 2 is looking at the special assessment history. So if you see a building that has special assessments, seems like every other year already, that means most likely that this condo is poorly managed, they don't know how to budget accordingly, and that it's only going to get worse. Absolutely worse as Florida becomes stricter on these condo associations and they're very poor at budgeting now. Don't do it. Number 3 thing to watch out for is buying an older building. Again, And some of these condos are completely brand new. You don't have to worry about, maintenance of them because they're new. You don't have to worry. They're not falling apart from decades of hurricane damage, wear and tear from the salt water. But some of these buildings might be, 50, 60 years old, and they're about to get hit very harshly with special assessments. Number 4 thing you have to watch out for is planned HOA increases. So like this elderly man, his HOA went from $1,500 to $3,000 a month. And if you're in retirement and you're stretching your budget already, or you had some in reserve, but you didn't take into account that your HOA fee may go from $1,500 to $3,000 to $6,000 to $12,000 a month, this might be something that can cause financial strain, even to people who thought they're completely prepared to move down here and retire. And lastly, number 5 thing, and probably the most important thing, is asking about the insurance on the building. So unfortunately, a lot of these buildings are having rapid increase in these association dues because of the neglect of the building itself. There's apparently this list going around, I don't know if it's called a blacklist or something. Certain buildings are actually very difficult to get insurance for, and they're not actually publicly telling you what buildings these are, but the insurance companies who regularly give, affordable insurance to these condos are deciding that they're not going to insure these buildings any longer. So they're being forced to take on more expensive insurance on these buildings that may be 2, 3, 4 times more expensive than it was the previous year. If you're considering buying a condo, definitely make sure that the insurance that the building currently has, it's going to be carried forward, because if that insurance plan is at risk of being dropped, the new insurance plan may be way worse, and that may increase your homeowner association way greater than you could ever imagine. So after all this bad news about condos, is there still a reason to buy a condo here in Boca Raton or South Florida? Well, there might be actual people that would benefit from a condo. Again, people who are like snowbirds, people who are down here only temporary and need to easily lock up their house for security purposes, for security. They may still benefit from a condo itself, or you absolutely just hate yard work and you don't want to see a yard. You just want the association to take care of everything, and you feel that you are okay with any type of special assessments and risks that the building may be in. That it might be completely fine for you. If you're looking into a newer luxury condo down here in Boca Raton, reach out to me. I personally would love to help you, because the newer condos down here are built to new standards. You don't have to worry about the special assessments, and everything goes way more smoothly once you start buying into these newer condos. But if you absolutely need to buy an older condo, I'll still work with you. But somebody like me, I always like to bring on somebody who focuses on these older condos. They're used to looking at all the financial statements, running through them, because it's going to be a lot of legwork on your agent side. And I just would rather just split my commission. I don't care about the pay cut as long as you're taken care of, because it's going to be very important to make sure that you completely understand the condo you're about to buy into. And if you're just considering buying a condo because you think it's gonna be cheaper than owning a home here in South Florida, you're probably wrong. The condos down here overall, it might be cheaper up front, but you're paying a lot more for your homeowner association fees, and these special assessments are coming down on practically every older condo down here. And if you ask for what I prefer to buy, I would rather buy a cheaper single family house down here rather than a condo. I prefer that. Some people love their HOAs. They like everything clean, neat, organized. I don't mind a HOA as long as they're not overbearing. I don't want to be fined if I kept my garage door open longer than 30 minutes to an hour. Some of the HOAs here, or I have a child, and one of the HOAs here do not allow any type of children toys to be seen from your front yard, or you face a $25 fine each time. And it's just something that I wouldn't want to deal with. So I would absolutely prefer just dealing with a very weak HOA, or not overbearing HOA, or no HOA at all. This is why I prefer the older homes here in East Boca. I feel like you get the best of all worlds, because you're essentially located to everything in Boca. Anything you possibly want to do, you don't have to deal with all that craziness of the HOAs themselves. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope buyers who reach out to me kind of make this video just so you get a general idea where I'm coming from. You're not surprised when I'm like, hey, we have to bring on another agent if you'd like to look at these type of condos, because I would actually rather you get the best treatment during this real estate transaction, and I don't mind splitting my commission with somebody. So if you do try to look at these older condos. I'll probably bring somebody else on just so everything is taken care of correctly. If you'd like to buy a newer condo, I can definitely help you with that one-on-one with no problem. But these older ones are just so complicated. One of my buyers come out in the future like, hey, how do we miss this $500,000 special assessment here? And I don't want that to happen to anybody. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got to see more what Boca Raton looks like on foot, and enjoy your time. Take care.